Hi guys, welcome back. Thank you for clicking play. If you're a first timer, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. I hope that you become a member of the family by subscribing. And if you've been here before, welcome back. In the last video, I spoke about compiling questions that have been dropped as comments and that have been sent to me in my DMs over the past few months, a little over a year. Most of these questions have actually been attended to in the DMs, but I thought I'd bring them here so that everyone is able to learn, so that we're all better, so that I can get your contributions as well on other people's questions. So yes, I have a number of them. I think this is going to be a two-part video because I got a few questions on the last video as well. Thank you so much for dropping your questions. I appreciate them. Thank you for the feedbacks and for everything else. So I'll go straight to it. This one says, first question says, our youth pastor is the son of the senior pastor. It's obvious that he was appointed based on who his father is, not on merit. I'm worried that this is the beginning of the end of this ministry. So this is not exactly a question, right? It's more like an observation. When someone says something like this to you, it's almost like they want to hear your thoughts about it. I have a question, in response to this message. That was what I sent as a reply to the person who sent this. I asked why. Why do you think that this person is not fit for the role? Why are you worried that it's the beginning of the end of the ministry? Do you think that the person is not of good character? Does the person have bad conduct? Is the person living a life that is not exemplary? Is the person living an ungodly life? Or are there other reasons? Do you just think that the person doesn't fit into your definition of a man of God? Is the person not eloquent? Maybe you've heard other pastors speak and you know how they should sound, and because of that you think that this person, no, he doesn't quite look like it. I asked all of these as a question and I didn't get a feedback. So the reason I asked those questions is because I'm trying to understand the perspective of the person who sent this message. We need to be careful when we're making certain conclusions, because as much as we are saying some things based on our love for the Church of God, sometimes some things that we say may not exactly make God happy, based on the fact that God is aware of the reason we are saying what we are saying. I do not think that a pastor, a man of God, would hand over administration of the church that God has made him head over to his son who is not of good conduct or who is of questionable character. I do not think that. I don't think any pastor in his right mind would do that. However, we're in a world where anything is possible. So if that is the reason, then I think that the best thing to do is to report this issue to someone who is bigger than the leadership of the church. And who is that someone if not God? Let God know the way you feel about what is going on. However, if the reason for your concern is not this, if it is something else, if, for example, you think the person is not deep enough, so you say, that pastor is not deep, Joe. If that is the reason you think that the person is not fit for the role, then the best thing to do is to pray for that person to attain a level of depth where he is able to be a blessing to everyone who is a member of that church. If it is for other reasons, say you think the person is not learned or is not eloquent, when you think about a man of God, the person doesn't just pop in your head, then I think that you should be careful about how you think about these things, because it's almost like a case of Samuel, who was going to anoint a son of Jesse. He saw Eliab, he saw every one of them, and he just didn't think it would be David. If we were to go by Samuel's judgment, Eliab would have been the one to be anointed, or any of the brothers except David, anyone but David. So we need to be careful, right? The way we consider these things, the way we ponder upon these things. Let us be sure that we are being worried for the right reasons. Moving right on. The next question. Hello Anu, hello to you too. My church doctrines are too stringent. I attend a more liberal fellowship in school, which permits some of the things that my church kicks against. Do you think I'm suffering from the Chameleon syndrome? If you don't understand what Chameleon syndrome is, please go and watch the video titled Chameleon syndrome on this channel. I'll attach the link in the description so that you're able to understand what I'm about to say. First of all, I am one who strongly believes that if you have been groomed by a certain local assembly. You have learnt, you have fed under a local assembly, or you are feeding, you are being groomed by a local assembly. You are under every obligation to go by whatever doctrine is in that local assembly. Every doctrine has been laid for a reason. This reason, most of the time, of course, more often than not, is best known to the set man of the local assembly. If you have now decided that that is the local assembly you want to be under, then of course you have to go by whatever doctrines are laid down in that local assembly. All right? That being said, I understand that as many ministers' case, many preachers' case, do not exactly have the opportunity to choose what local assembly they would like to worship in until they get to a certain age, right? However, as long as you're under your parents and they attend a particular church, it is only a way of showing honor to your parents, that you attend that same church with them. Okay, so, and if that is the case, then you have to go by the doctrines of that church. So, many of the fellowships in Nigerian universities are quite liberal, especially the federal universities. And the reason for that is because of the environment where these fellowships find themselves. It's a student environment. Of course, it's going to be more liberal. For example, the university I attended, there's so many fellowships. As a fresher, you start hearing about freshers welcome, or the freshers welcome gathering, freshers welcome in this fellowship. That's how it is. So it's, of course, it will come as you are. No one dictates to you how to dress, or at least for the first few times you'll be attending the fellowship. Is when you become a member that you then begin to understand certain doctrines in the fellowships as well. So it is normal that fellowships in your university would be more liberal. So I say this often, that our actions are important, but not as important as the motives behind them. So attending a fellowship, fantastic. It's good to attend fellowship. The reason you are attending that fellowship is more important to God, so that your service in that fellowship will not be in vain. You need to check the reason. Now, if you happen to attend the fellowship because they pray so well, they are deep in the word, or their worship sessions are amazing, great. So after a while you then see that looks like their doctrines are more liberal. That's good. But if the first thing you look out for is a fellowship with a more liberal doctrine, without even thinking about the other more important things, then I think that such a person is running into error. It's almost a case of, these people in my church, their own is too much. Let me look for where they will allow me to do what I want to do. In that case, it is a selfish interest that has made you a member of that fellowship. Without sugarcoating anything, that is the plain truth. God is more interested in the motive behind your attendance than your attendance in itself. That will now determine whether or not you are suffering from the Chameleon syndrome. The third one says, "Good morning, Anu. I feel pressured. I was appointed as an exco in my youth fellowship, and I'm not sure I'm fit for the role. Turning it down would mean embarrassing my parents. I hate this feeling. What do I do?" I get you. See, this particular situation, I can relate with it 100%. Pastor's child is given a particular office in the youth executive or something. I get you. What I'm going to say first is, on your list of nevers, top on the list should be, never should I ever pick up a spiritual assignment because of any human being. Not my parents, not my siblings, not my uncle, not my general overseer, not my father in the Lord, not my mentor, should be enough reason why I would say, I'm picking up this spiritual assignment, just so I don't disappoint this person. Because it is not the person's work. If it is the work of God, then the one whose permission you need to pick it up is God himself, not anybody else. Unless, of course, God is sending those people to you. If there's a burden in your heart to do something, and it is then confirmed, from one of these people, then you know that, God is speaking to me. Good. But you say to yourself, my mentor will be very angry if I don't pick up this assignment. That is error. It is error. So that being said, How do you know that you are not fit for you? Let's take a look at the Bible. Was there ever anyone that was called by God and felt up to the task immediately? No, think about it. Nobody. Talk about Moses. Moses gave as many excuses as he could until he couldn't give any excuse anymore. Talk about Joshua. Do you know how many times God had to say to Joshua, be strong and of good courage? From Joshua chapter 1, from verse 1 to 10, be strong and fear not appeared like 4 times within 10 verses. 10 verses. And when God says to you, be strong and of good courage, do not be afraid. It is because he knows that there's something before you that will scare you. Never in the history of God's calling has anyone felt very much up to the task immediately. That is why it is God's work anyway, because it's only God that can enable you to do it. If you are given an assignment and immediately you are like, I got this, you need to check that assignment very well. If what you have in your heart is a feeling of inadequacy, I believe it's normal for any spiritual assignment. At some point you will pause to think, this thing is a lot of work. That is why you need the help of God. So how do you balance these two? Now go to God and find out from God what his will is. You go to God with an open heart, so you will actually hear God. Let him know how you feel about the assignment. Ask if he is the one who is sending you and if he would love for you to pick it up, or if not. Hi Anu, my name is, I won't tell you his name or her name. And I'm a preacher's kid too. Hi preacher's kid. I love preacher's kids. I'm a preacher's kid myself. I've been in a relationship with the woman of my dreams for 2 years. Oh, I remember this guy. We had a very interesting chat last year. I'll tell you something after. She became born again 4 years ago. That's 2 years before we began our relationship. So there are some things she doesn't understand yet. I'm certain she's the one for me, but I'm not sure my parents will accept who she is presently. God has shown me a glimpse of our future together, Anu. It's so beautiful. I'm 100% certain that she's the one. See me blushing like I'm the one they're talking about this life. But how do I make my parents accept her wholeheartedly? So this brother and I had a chat sometime in August last year, and here is how our conversation went. Having said all of this, I then said to him that the way your family members, your parents, your siblings, everyone in your family, the way they would receive your partner, your spouse to be, is highly determined by how you present them. For example, a guy like this who already knows his parents' expectations, would know how to then present the lady to them. You know the lady. You know what her flaws are. Of course, nobody is perfect, right? You know what they expect side by side with what the reality is right now. This is what I said to him. I would advise that you say to them all the lovable things about this lady. Seize every opportunity to talk about the sweet things that she does. And during this chat with the guy, I could tell that the lady was actually a very sweet person. Okay, so let them know. Seize every opportunity to talk about her. Present her in a beautiful light. Make them look forward to meeting her. I mean, of course, there's prayer going underground as to whether they will now receive her wholeheartedly or not. But you do your assignment of presenting her on a platter of gold. If you know what I mean, present her to your parents in such a way that they would not be able to resist. That is not to say that you should lie to your parents about who she is. As a matter of fact, you can share with them how she's growing, in the Lord, her growth in the Lord, how it has been and stuff. We're talking about parents who are believers, right? I mean, he said he's a preacher's kid, so I'm sure that they will understand these things. So one other thing I added was, do not shock them. I saw a movie a few months back about a lady whose father wanted her to be with a guy from the same tribe. This lady was aware, and then she fell in love with an Indian, and then she brought the Indian to her parents. When you already know what your parents expect of you, and then you are aware that what you are involved in is entirely different from what they expect of you, I don't think it's a very wise idea to just blow it up in their faces like that. I think you should ready their hearts I think you should, have a conversation with them. Like I say very often, everything is better after a good conversation. For example, if you know that your parents feel a certain way about people who have tattoos, and the person you're involved with has a number of tattoos in visible places or in a visible place, don't let your parents be the ones to find out by themselves. Bring it up at some point. All the time that you're saying these sweet things about the person, chook it inside. Chook it inside and say, she even got a tattoo at some point in her life. I mean, just say it in passing, and then continue with the sweet things like it's nothing, if you get what I mean. So let it not be that they see the person and the first thing they see is the tattoo. Do you get me? So present it to them, present her to them, present him to them in a lovable light, in a light that they will embrace, so that they would even fall in love with the person before meeting the person. And I wish you all the very best. I'm saying this because they're actually getting married very soon, and I'm so excited for them. Like I said, we had this chat in August and they're getting married soon. Glory to God. Moving on. This next one, I love God. I want to serve him with my life, but I'm stuck. So this one came up after I dropped the video stuck. I've been battling with an addiction to masturbation for about 6 years. I've tried again and again to break free. It makes me so sad because I actually preach sexual purity and counsel people on this same issue, but I can't seem to break free myself. Help me. One of the challenges that comes with being a sexual purity advocate is the fact that for some reason people believe that your life in that area will be perfect. That's not a bad thing. Like I said, I didn't call it a problem. I said it was a challenge, right? It's like being a pastor. For some reason, people expect that in certain areas of life you'll be perfect. After all, you preach. If you know what I mean. So when you preach sexual purity, it's normal for people to expect that you don't have any challenges in that area. As far as that is concerned, you should be good. That's not the case all of the time. Now, this particular expectation is the reason it's difficult to speak up. People who preach sexual purity find it difficult to speak up when they're faced with certain situations, like in this case. And that in itself is bondage. The fact that you're not able to talk about an issue that you have in a particular area because you preach about it is a bondage in itself. So the devil tells you a lie that there's nobody you can talk to. Oh, are you not bigger than that? You're bigger. Why would you talk to that person? You're gone past that level. Why would you? And so such a person begins to wallow in silence. And you know that every sin, but most especially sexual sin, thrives in secrecy. The more you hide it, the deeper you go into it. It's like doing something in the dark. Nobody sees you, so you just keep going deeper into it. And that in itself is a problem. Which leads me to one of the ways that this can be dealt with: accountability. Yorubas used to say that, what that means is your life can't be so bad that you would not have one person that you can turn to. I'm saying this so very passionately because I do not know who it was that sent me this message. The message was from a faceless Instagram handle. No display picture, following 0, followers 0. Almost like the person opened up the account just to ask the question. And that made me feel a certain way in my heart. Like, it made me reach out to the person. I feel you, bro. I feel you, sis. I feel you. I feel why you're like, I can't talk to anybody. But it's what you have to do. I salute your courage in being honest about your struggles, but you might have to take it a step further by being honest with somebody who actually knows you. Somebody that you can report yourself to, that you can be accountable to. Accountability doesn't mean that the masturbation or watching the pornography will never happen again. It only means that you are now restricted from doing it because you know that you will have to report yourself if you do it. If you're a guy, Look around for an older, more mature, godly, spiritual, trustworthy man that you can be accountable to. If you're a lady, look around you. There will be somebody who is older, more spiritual, mature, trustworthy that you can be accountable to. Please do not be quiet. Do not keep it a secret. Talk to somebody. Now, having been accountable, what the person is likely to ask you to do first is to block the gateways. What that means is that you're the one who knows the platform upon which all of these temptations come. Is it a social media platform? Is it a website? Whatever it is, you have to make a decision to block it. Now, this one, which is the most important, there's something that Reverend Idahosa said that stuck with me. He said, never in the history of asking for help has anyone asked God for help and not received help. All of this accountability, blocking the gateway, blah blah blah, amounts to zero if you are not helped by God. It is only he that is helped by God that is really helped. So it doesn't matter how you decide to do something, how much you say I have made a decision, unless God helps us. This one here is not even you need God to help you. Go to God and let him know, be vulnerable with him. At this point in my life, Father, I cannot do it. A struggle of 6 years, it takes God to break it. And of course, with a lot of prayers. My heart really reaches out to you. I don't know who you are, but my heart really goes out to you. And every time I remember this message, I say a word of prayer for you. I trust God that you will share your testimony in the shortness of time. In Jesus' mighty name. Thank you for watching to the very end. There are more questions, but I'll have to make this a 2-part video just so it doesn't become too long. Okay, thank you for being here. I hope that you drop a comment and like and share and subscribe. Do take care of yourself. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.